Even though you are at a barbecue joint, you can't even afford the fancy cuts of meat, right? Pickles are more than enough for the poor. My former classmate, a banker named David, looked down on me with disdain and aggressively spilled a plate of juicy pickles. The plate overturned right onto the red cardigan I had gifted my mother. Do you even realize what you've done? Apologize right now, and I might still forgive you. Why should I, an elite from Evergreen Bank, apologize to a loser like you? I was just sharing some pickles, wasn't I? He didn't even try to hide his smirk. I see. I understand your thoughts clearly. Mom, let's move the $30 million to another bank. What? He stood there, dumbfounded, unable to grasp the situation. He never took me seriously, but things dramatically changed the next day. My name is Scott, a 36-year-old former banker. After my father passed away when I was in high school, it was just my mother and me. I managed to graduate from college using scholarships, but I quit my job soon after I started working. Since then, I've settled into a new job and life has finally stabilized. Today, to show my appreciation and celebrate my mother's 60th birthday, we came to her favorite barbecue place. When I gave her a red cardigan as a birthday present, she was so delighted she put it on right there. While we were grilling tongue and short ribs, my mom was happily crunching on cucumber pickles. Even though it was her big day, and I wanted her to enjoy more of the meat she loves. Thank you, but I really love these pickles at the barbecue place. Don't worry, I'm also enjoying the meat, she said, continuing to smile and enjoy her meal. If my mom is happy, that's what matters, so we continued to eat joyfully, until suddenly, the private room's door slammed open. Hey, isn't that Scott? I haven't seen you since you fled from work, but you seem well. The voice belonged to David, my former classmate and colleague at the bank. David and I were classmates in high school, constantly competing for the top grades. However, I was always slightly ahead, which unilaterally earned his dislike, making this unexpected reunion quite awkward. Back in high school, he always treated me as a rival. Don't act snobby just because you're good at studying. This time, your guess just happened to be right. He was as smart as me, but his persistence in always losing to me probably turned into spite. He even went to the same university and ended up working at the same local Evergreen Bank, sticking to me all the while. Our relationship changed after 3 years on the job. When the branch manager changed, the business strategy was overhauled, pushing us to aggressively sell products and services. I kept wondering if these products and services were truly beneficial for our customers. As I made proposals to loyal customers and secured contracts, I began to doubt whether I was genuinely considering the customer's perspective. These doubts weighed on me even as I got used to the job, and then the transfer order came. I knew regular transfers were meant to prevent misconduct, but the real problem at that time was my mother. People often say, "Don't take your parents for granted." My mom had always been healthy until she was diagnosed with a serious illness. Shocked, I rushed home where my mother greeted me with a tired smile. "Thanks for coming even though you're busy. But don't worry, it was discovered early enough that surgery should ensure there's no danger to my life." I was relieved at first. But as we talked more, I realized the situation wasn't as optimistic as it seemed. Although the surgery had a high success rate, my mom would need to recover at home for quite some time, making it difficult for her to even manage daily activities, let alone go shopping. Assistance was necessary for trips to and from the hospital, and should her condition worsen at home, immediate care would be required. In other words, someone would need to assist my mom throughout the day. After discussing with my mom's primary doctor, it was clear that living alone during the day would be challenging. Considering the situation with my mom, I decided, after much deliberation, to resign from the bank. I had felt uneasy about the bank's policies, and moving to a distant location, leaving my mom alone, was out of the question. When I submitted my resignation, my supervisor got disappointed and tried to persuade me to stay. Though I felt guilty for leaving a place that had been good to me, my mom's health was my priority. Thus, I left the bank after 3 years. I've never regretted my decision, but for David, it seemed to be the first time he thought he had beaten me. The day before my last day, he came to my desk, sneering as he spoke. "Lucky for you that your mom got sick just in time." His unexpected and cruel words shocked me. I was already tense with my mom's upcoming surgery. I couldn't understand how he could say something so cruel at a time like this. But he just watched my speechless reaction and started laughing disdainfully. "Don't make excuses. You just couldn't handle the bank's quotas and ran away because you couldn't cut it in sales, right? Is that all you came to say? Bad timing. I've got handover work to do, so please move aside." I managed to reply, holding back my anger. He scoffed and continued, "Being smart at school doesn't mean you can hack it in the real world. You've never faced failure before, so you were using your mom as an excuse to run away." Without the will to respond, I stayed silent, and he got even more aggressive. "Must be nice, huh? Quitting before everyone realizes you're a failure who can't meet company standards. What are you going to do now? Hide at home with your mom?" "Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm staying home to take care of my mom, and I won't be working outside anymore, so leave me alone." I lied hastily to get rid of him. He burst into laughter as if he'd heard the funniest joke, then announced loudly across the office, "Hey, hear that? Scott's going to become a shut-in from now on. He's retiring from society to be a bum." In the past, his smirking face would have left me feeling bitter. But now, I see it as my final liberation from this unwanted, inseparable relationship. With that, I calmly continued preparing the handover documents. After that, my mom successfully underwent her surgery and recovered at home as planned. She regained her health completely, and I began working again, establishing a new lifestyle. One day, we decided to celebrate her 60th birthday and her recovery at a barbecue restaurant, a special treat. She was happy with the present I prepared, and we were having a good time when he suddenly barged in. "I saw you when you went to the restroom earlier and thought it might be you. Turns out it really was Scott the loser." He smirked as he threw snide remarks at me. Despite my mother being present, he barged into our private room to harass us, showing that his character hasn't changed a bit. "Today is my mom's 60th birthday. We're here to enjoy this as a family, so please." I tried to speak calmly, hoping to get him to leave. But seeing an opportunity to tease me, his eyes gleamed with mischief as he decided to stay. "Are you really eating pickles at a barbecue place? Isn't that just the appetizer? Oh, I get it. Since you declared you'd be a shut-in and not work, you must be broke now," he said, then smirked and left the room. Relieved he'd given up, I was momentarily at ease until he returned to our private room. He began transferring cucumber pickles from his own plate to ours without permission. "You guys are really saving me here. I can't stand cheap tastes like this. I was about to throw these pickles away," he said. "Hey, don't put things on our plates without asking." I protested, but he just looked down on us, grinning. "Be thankful. You quit the bank and have no money, right? Even though you are at a barbecue place, you can afford the expensive meat, right? That's enough." I raised my voice, but he continued to look down on me condescendingly. "Since you can afford to pay for the meat, I figured I'd share the pickles. Pickles are more than enough for the poor." His voice, filled with malice, mercilessly bombarded my mother and me. I really wanted to retaliate strongly, but I managed to restrain myself. Today is a special day, my mother's 60th birthday. If I let anger ruin this joyous occasion, it would only trouble my mother, who was enjoying herself until now. With that in mind, I quietly urged him to leave. Can you please just leave now? Oh, not running away today. Weren't you the one who quit the bank job crying because it was too tough? Looks like you should be the one to leave this restaurant, spineless Scott. His taunting only made my blood boil. But causing a scene here would only trouble my mother and the restaurant. I just run into him today. David is someone I shouldn't even be meeting anymore. He's like a stone on the roadside, a traveler you pass by on a trip, never to see again. No matter how much he insults me, I just need to let it slide for now. If I don't respond, he'll get bored and leave soon. Thinking this, I remained silent, but this only seemed to irritate him further. Frustrated, he furrowed his brow and picked up the plate of pickles he had added earlier. Then he deliberately spilled the juicy pickles all over. The plate overturned right onto the red cardigan I had gifted my mother. Yikes. Oops, sorry about that, ma'am. My hand slipped, he said, offering an insincere apology with a smirk as my mother's cardigan got drenched in pickle juice and cucumber slices. I quickly stood up to ask a server for a towel, but he grabbed a napkin from the table first. I'll wipe it off right away. Oh dear, my hands just slipped. While saying this, he laughed loudly, crushing the cucumbers with the napkin. The smell of crushed cucumbers filled the private room, and the brand new cardigan was left stained. Oh, it was a gift for my 60th birthday. Haha, sorry about that, seems like I made it worse. He continued to laugh as if watching a funny skit, enjoying my mother's distress. At that moment, my anger shook me to the core. I could ignore whatever was said to me, but I couldn't forgive him for troubling my mother. David, are you still working at Evergreen Bank, at the same branch as before? Yes, that's right. Unlike when you left, I'm about to be the branch manager. I'm the top rising star and elite among our peers now, different from someone who quit halfway through. His voice echoed in the restaurant, attracting the attention of the staff and other customers who peeked into our private room. As he continued to laugh, I stared him down, giving him one last chance. Do you even realize what you've done? Apologize right now, and I might still forgive you. Huh? Why should I, an elite from Evergreen Bank, apologize to a loser like you? I was just sharing some pickles, wasn't I? As he said this, he pointed at the pickle-stained cardigan and didn't even try to hide his smirk. I see. I understand your thoughts clearly. Mom, let's move the $30 million to another bank. What? He stood there, dumbfounded, unable to grasp the situation. Meanwhile, my mother looked confused at my words. What's going on? We've always wanted to repay your gratitude by dealing only with Evergreen Bank because you were working there after graduation. But a person from Evergreen Bank has insulted you and me. I kept my anger in check, but it seemed my irritation was evident to both my mother and him. I continued, staring at his stiffened face. Listen, David, we both have social standings and we're not kids anymore. If you dare insult us like this in public, you must be prepared for the consequences. So what? He responded brusquely, showing no intention of apologizing. I sighed deeply and said firmly, I'm done dealing with you. I've decided to transfer the $30 million we have at Evergreen Bank somewhere else. After this, you'll probably understand what kind of a mess you've really caused. What are you talking about? You're saying you have $30 million in deposits. That's not even a good joke. Go ahead and cancel it if you can. It seems that he still doesn't believe I have a $30 million deposit at the bank. It's embarrassing that you'd lie like that. Don't come crying to me when you regret it. If you can withdraw $30 million from our bank, I'll applaud you, but that's impossible for a shut-in poor like you. We'll see who regrets it. I've only told the truth. Look forward to what happens tomorrow. With that, I left him sitting there as I got up from the table. As we paid and left the restaurant, he continued to mock us. Do you really think I'd believe such a pathetic bluff? I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to you guys." Ignoring his continued taunts, we headed home from the barbecue restaurant. He thought it was all a lie and didn't take it seriously, but the next day, everything changed. I heard from a former colleague that the Evergreen Bank was flooded with calls right after they opened the next day. Some people even went directly to the bank to inquire, and the staff was overwhelmed with responses. David, who had arrived at work as usual, was summoned by the furious manager, James. "What's all this commotion about today? Did something happen? What have you done?" James, usually calm, yelled as if he had lost control of himself, veins standing out on his forehead. Taken aback by the intensity, David apologized while trying to understand the situation. "The phone lines are almost crashing because of the inquiries about what you did at the barbecue restaurant yesterday." "What? I did go out for barbecue yesterday, but..." Confused, he wiped the sweat off his forehead. Then, James showed him a video on his phone. "It seems you caused a disturbance at the barbecue restaurant yesterday. There's a video of it online now, and it's causing a huge problem." The video is online. He grabbed the phone and focused intently on the small screen. The video showed the exchange between him and me from the previous day. "Why is there a video of this? I don't know anything about it." "But that's you in the video, David. Calling someone a poor and mocking them. What were you thinking?" James's words made him spit in defiance. "I just ran into an old friend by chance and got carried away joking around. Is it wrong to eat barbecue? And why is this video spreading?" The fuss was so great that a customer at the restaurant recorded everything. Then it was posted online as a scandal involving a bank employee. At James's words, he began to tremble, turning pale. The video had already been viewed over 1,000,000 times, and deleting it now wouldn't suppress the issue. "My elite life is over. How can I solve this problem?" "Your elite life is over. That doesn't matter. What you did is a major issue, but the person you insulted was none other than Scott." As they were talking, other bank employees came to call James and him. My mother and I had just arrived at the bank. As I had declared the day before, I was there to close the account and withdraw the $30 million. However, the counter staff informed me that such a large transaction couldn't be processed there and asked us to come to a private room where James would join us. The bank employee who guided us knew about yesterday's incident, so they decided to have him join the discussion too. David, who rushed in with James, began sweating profusely the moment he saw my mother and me. When James heard from the bank employee that I intended to withdraw the entire $30 million and close the account, he tried his best to persuade me to reconsider. "Please reconsider. Can you at least tell us why?" The reason? He knows it well. Yesterday, when I told him I would close the account, he readily agreed. He must have remembered his defiant words. He looked around uneasily and then took a few steps towards me to speak. But before he could say anything, James dropped the thunder. "What have you done? Angering our top client like this is irreversible. Scott is a top client. That must be some mistake. He's a quitter who left this bank halfway through. James, you're making a terrible mistake." James's anger seems incomprehensible to him. He smirks as if he's heard a joke and speaks dismissively. "Scott is just a poor man. He certainly doesn't have $30 million. James, his face turning red with anger, got even angrier with him as he continued to make excuses. "It's not a misunderstanding. He's saying he wants to withdraw all $30 million from his savings. This man is a CEO of a major IT company." James exclaimed, finally realizing the truth of my words. After leaving the bank, I started managing assets from home and saving funds, which I then invested in a startup. By networking with talented entrepreneurs, I eventually founded and now run my own IT company. Hearing my background from James, he stood frozen, his face pale and silent. I spoke slowly to him. "Now do you understand that I wasn't joking? I can't trust a bank where people like you work." "But I didn't know. I'll apologize if you want. Just please don't withdraw your money from the bank." He was still condescending, disappointing not just me but also others. James, who had witnessed everything, looked at him with disdain and anger. "I thought you were a competent banker. What a disappointment." As you heard, ridiculing a customer and showing no remorse questions your integrity. "I cannot entrust my assets to this bank." I reiterated my demand to withdraw the $30 million, and James sighed deeply, reluctantly agreeing. Thus, I withdrew all my assets from Evergreen Bank. He resisted to the end, shouting, "How can someone like you, who ran away from a tough job, succeed enough to have $30 million? Aren't you just a coward?" But I just shook my head calmly. "Why do you criticize leaving so much? Assessing the situation and choosing a different path is not something to be ashamed of. But you abandoned your job and lost to me. Leaving from the workplace is proof of no responsibility." It seemed that being a banker was the only thing he could boast about as a victory over me. Hearing him insisting, I felt pity rather than anger. It's great to work hard with responsibility, but no one wants to live with regrets by suppressing what they truly want to do. Regrets? I recalled the day I decided to resign. Faced with a promotion to a distant location and my mother's surgery, followed by difficult home care. When these two futures were presented to me, I chose my mother's health. There are people who will follow the path you aspire to, and there are those who will live like me. Everyone should choose the life that suits them best. You have to decide your own life. How is that different from being selfish? I work hard. I am going to be the most successful person in this bank. I am great. He kept repeating his argument, almost screaming by the end. When someone's thoughts become so rigid, advice from others no longer reaches them. I left the bank feeling sorry. A branch of Evergreen Bank closed down. Months later, I was driving my mother to the hospital. Her illness had fully improved, and now she only needed regular checkups, which was a relief. On the way to the hospital, we passed the location where Evergreen Bank once stood. The grand building had been demolished, leaving a clean slate. "That David person was your classmate, wasn't he? I'm sorry my 60th birthday celebration triggered all this." "No, it's okay. He's always been like that, and it's good that the branch closed down." My comment about the closure wasn't a joke. This information comes from a new acquaintance in the finance industry. According to him, ever since James took charge, the branch's reputation among customers had steadily declined. James had favored David, a high-performing banker, and together they changed management policies. Even during my time, we were forced to sell unnecessary products to customers. After I left, their methods became more blatant, treating customers who refused products as poor and behaving arrogantly, while being overly courteous to big clients. This unfair treatment had been problematic for a while, and there were frequent complaints against Evergreen Bank itself. With the recent scandal, the bank could no longer protect James and David. As Evergreen Bank was already reducing staff by merging branches, they quickly decided to close the branch where David worked. Other bank employees were given placements elsewhere, but James and David were not offered decent transfers. Assigned to a department that only organized old documents all day, David, with his bruised pride, resigned voluntarily after enduring about a month. "I deserve a much better job," he declared, slamming his resignation letter down before leaving the bank. James tried to cling to his job, but after David left, he was solely blamed for the branch's closure. Unable to withstand a cold treatment from colleagues and bosses, he followed David in resignation. Afterwards, James searched for a new job but couldn't find employment within the same industry due to his tarnished reputation. Nevertheless, needing to make a living, He eventually found a job as a bank security guard. Once a manager pushing unnecessary products for performance, he now finds himself humbly responding to customers' complaints. On the other hand, David's life took a harsh turn after his wife divorced him and took their children with her. Forced to sell his home to pay for the divorce settlement and property division, he now lives alone in a cheap apartment. Currently, he works as a part-time employee at a local supermarket, struggling to make ends meet and pay child support. Interestingly, his manager and supervisor are former high school classmates whom he used to mock, but now he has no choice but to diligently follow their orders. He is assigned to the deli section, where he sells items like potato salad and pickles daily. However, still clinging to his elitist attitude, he grumbles, "How can someone like me deal with something as poor-looking as pickles?" and neglects proper stock management. This results in poor sales, leading to frequent lectures from his once classmate, now supervisor. One can only hope that he will reflect on his behavior and change his way of living. As for my mother and me, we decided to redo her 60th birthday celebration. This whole experience made me reconsider what I truly value. I was reaffirmed that resigning was the right decision, and I felt deeply content with my choice. Mom, happy 60th birthday again. Without you, I wouldn't have had the chance to close that account. Let's continue to enjoy life in good health. Thank you, I'm proud of you. My mother replied, smiling gently, obviously pleased. Motivated by these sentiments, I resolved to keep following the path I believe in. As I reflect on these thoughts, I open my computer again today. To complete my work with pride,